Hi everyone and welcome back to the Pacaffeine Sturya Podcast. Finally! Happy New Year! Karoon pa na balik ang girly pop. Wala nag-shoot, hobbies pro max. Thanks again for choosing to spend your time with me here. I'm glad that we finally crossed over to a new year. I'm happy that I finally got to sit on this couch to talk about something I feel is important. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna observe the world together, observe our identities together. So for the laptop, ang girl, no, kay we have a agenda today. Please note down the minutes of the meeting. 37 minutes. Amen. Today's caffeine is not coffee, but it's tea. This is tea from Harry's house. This is peppermint with strawberry syrup, and according to the packaging, with thyme and love as well. It's really good. Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Harriet of Harry's house, for sharing with me your concoction. Concoction from the root word. Ayan na lang. So where am I coming from today? Today is February 12, 2026. It's been a whole week of what I called the halftime high. This Monday, well, it was Monday, the Philippines, the world saw the Bad Bunny halftime show, which was in pure Spanish, just the sheer joy and celebration, but also the political relevance and just the human passion that was expressed in that show. It's indescribable. I'm so glad to be alive to witness it. Well, not well through my screen, but like I'm glad to be in the generation that experienced it with everyone else. I'm glad, yeah, as my friend said, that I hopped on the Bad Bunny train. I'm on the Bad Bunny rabbit hole, pun intended. Ever since his album Debitaran Mafoto won the Grammy Award for Album of the Year, I started listening to it, and then the next thing I know, I'm in love with this man. It's giving caliente. Kuan pa kung sa ato pa, ano siya, in terms of Pansit Canton, ano siya, extra hot. Nayabanda nga ka lang, okay lang, chili mansi. Pero si Benito na yun ang extra hot with bun, with egg, and tagbanjing ko mamaylo. Ginog siya agad. Pag nag-start. Serious siya nga chika. I promise, I promise. I promise na ako something. Something valuable nga kaingon. I'm going through the music and I'm going through the halftime show reactions. Every time I watch a video of a Latino family watching the halftime show, especially when they hear their country's name mentioned in the roll call and they cheer and like some abuelas, they cry. By the way, if you haven't watched it yet, then please watch it because I'm on like my sixth, seventh rewatch. Please watch it because it's a very important cultural moment. I'm watching all the breakdowns, the discussions of the symbolisms in the show, and I'm also learning a lot about Puerto Rican history because of the show. Because of the show and because of Bad Bunny's music in general. As a Filipino, I feel so connected to it. And I know that that's not an accident at all. I know that there's a reason for that. The reason I wanted to sit here and just think out loud is because I want to unpack whatever feeling that is that makes me feel so connected to number one, the halftime show specifically, and the music and the cultural impact of Bad Bunny in general. So that's why we're here. That's what we're here to talk about. I wanted to talk about language, especially as a trilingual person. And I wanted to talk about why we as Filipinas, or just at least for me, why for me as a Filipina, especially as a Cebuana, why being participative and attentive in artistic cultural phenomenons like the music of Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio is important for us. Shots ako dyan. Lamay good her. Honestly lang. Anyway, I am going to try and speak in English as much as I can, preferably the entire episode, for the purpose of making the table bigger. Does that make sense? Making the table bigger so that more people can come and sit and be a part of the conversation. I'm curious to know also what other people's perspective and other people's insight is around conversations about language itself. So yeah, hopefully I can build some bridges with the thoughts that I want to share with you today. I just want to make a disclaimer first that I'm not a linguist. What I am is just I've just made very close observations about how we as a people use our language, but most specifically English. And I guess also discuss, unpack how we're identifying ourselves with a language that was originally not ours. The truth of our identity as Filipinos is that our English is good. We speak English fluently compared to other Asian nations. We're the ones who are sharing our skill of English with them. English for us is not a foreign language. English is a second language. English is everywhere in the Philippines. It's our mode of instruction. Our signs are in English. Our books are in English. Our news is partly in English. We mix English with Bisaya or Filipino. And it's just a normal part of our everyday life that I feel we don't really pay much attention. And the reason for that is because, well, it's because of our colonial history. Because the Americans were here. And when they, well, it's so soft to say arrived, when they took control over the Philippines, they gave us English through this, wow, little history lesson, through this program called the benevolent assimilation. I never forgot this. I learned this in first year high school. I never forgot it. I don't know why. Well, they said that they were here in the Philippines to share the way that they do governance, their literature, their educational system, this and that. But really, it's chekara. Honestly lang, this is just facts. It was their way of justifying why they were here. When really, they wanted this to be a military base, a trading port, a source of cheap labor. We were exploited, basically. And we were given English to make it okay. Does that make sense? To make the ugly things look pretty, if you know what I'm saying. This is a complicated history, and I'm gonna be honest and say that I don't feel qualified to confidently, sensitively share this here like this in a context like this. I'm not a resource for what that complicated history is, but what I will say is just the truth that we were exploited by these colonizers. They came here to take from us, vamos a consuelo, as consuelo, or to make it look like it's a give and take situation. They called it a pretty name, benevolent assimilation, and they gave us English. I also believe that the benevolent assimilation program was just, it was a way of making us more like them so that it's easier for them to control us rather than them learning Filipino or Bisaya. They'd rather make us learn English so that we can participate in their culture that exists up here. Does that make sense? So it's a very intricate and wrapped in a bow type of psychological warfare. Basically, a lot of that colonial history still hurts us to this day. It's correct to just admit that flat out. But what I wanted to do in this particular episode is to zero in on the language component of that part of our colonial history. Okay, so for those who don't know, why were the Americans here in the first place? So, quick history lesson because I also just reviewed on this. So, the Philippines was colonized by Spain for 333 years. So, that's a long time. That's why we're called the Latinos of Asia because we are so Hispanic in our culture, our architecture is Hispanic, our language is Hispanic, even our last names are Hispanic. At the end of those 300 plus years, the Spanish rule started weakening. Around that time, also, the rebellion was very strong on the Filipino side. So, in the late 1800s or early 1900s, I believe it was, the Americans were at that time planning also their expansion into other lands outside of mainland United States. So they had this idea to go all the way across the Pacific Ocean and come to the Philippines. They saw that a rebellion was happening. They were having this white savior moment where they felt that they needed to liberate the country. The Spaniards saw that as an opportunity to save face. They basically told the Americans, we would rather lose to you, Americans, than to these Filipino revolutionaries. They didn't want to embarrass themselves. So they staged a mock war. Oh my god, how gay is that? Mock war. Fight, 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 fight. They staged a mock war to make it look like there is a battle between the US and Spain. So fight, 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 fight. And then, oh no, the Americans are too strong. We surrender. US, you can have the Philippines. And then Spain was like, can you just give us money at least? And then we'll go. And then the Americans paid them off and then they left the Philippines. Funny kay mock war, please. Karon ako naka-think ani kay when you're a kid and you're learning this for the first time in history class, you don't understand yet the implications of this whole thing or how funny the whole thing is because you're just studying for a test. But karon ako ka grasp ba nga murag ulo uy pathetic sa mako. They didn't want to embarrass themselves, but isn't it more embarrassing to be found out years later nga is a makwar day. It's giving. Okay, thank you so much group 1 for your presentation. Makwar. Lauy. Naay shot sa tayo. Mura mag ungoon sa atong Spanish ancestors. Diri nga part. Kaingon jutag merece. Can you say merece? Okay, anyway, we serious balik. Okay, let's go. Anna, so that's the reason why we have English because of the benevolent assimilation that happened during American rule over the Philippines. And then over the years, I believe it's become not just a language that we could use for communication or education. What I observed is that English has become some sort of a status symbol, like a reflection of a person's access to specific educational opportunities. Like, for example, in private schools, you generally get better English training because not only do you learn in the classroom, the kids around you are of a, let's just spell out the truth. The kids around you are rich. They are of a higher social class than most, and so they speak English conversationally. Because it's become a status symbol, what I've observed is you could become judged for not getting your words right and not getting your pronunciation right. Di ko limpyo aning part. Like, I fully participated in that culture, especially when I was younger. The competition that isn't, by the way, isn't real gets in your head and you feel like you have to participate, and so it's become a tool for division. It's not at all like in other countries where English is a foreign language, where it's nothing. It's like they only speak English when they need to. Something that I want to step back from and unlearn. On the other side of that negative effect that English has created within our society, the fun part is English is also now used by us ironically. It's used in jokes, It's used in gay lingo. It's used to poke fun at yourself and poke fun at each other. Gay lingo, like for example, for the laptop, for the podcast, ang girly pop, like English is so mixed into our idea of fun, our idea of togetherness. We mock English in what our idea of humor is. Does that make sense? Hi, it's Isa from the editing room. I think I left the bridge disconnected and I feel a little bit OC about it because the whole thing isn't tying together. So I just wanted to add something. What I'm trying to say here is that, like, I'm trying to unlearn and I'm not anymore a fan of belittling a fellow Filipino for the quality of their English because I feel that that's unfair to us as number one, multilingual speakers, and number two, recovering from colonization. But I feel that when when everybody is in on the joke, when no one's being laughed at and we are all laughing together, we're all poking fun at ourselves and at each other just as a way of not taking ourselves too seriously. I feel that that is a much healthier way of experiencing our relationship with the English language. That's the part that is an act of resistance because, if anything, if we were given something that had the objective to control us, then we'd rather just take it back and use it to connect with other Filipinos rather than make it divide us even more. Does that make sense? I know I'm taking this whole thing too seriously and this probably sounds like a thesis defense, but I feel really passionate about this. Anyway, maroto siya. Back to Isa from the couch. Naguulat. Karen Davila. Ay! Karen! The thing about humor is that once you're able to laugh about something, then it doesn't control you anymore. Like, if you can laugh about something, that means you're above it and it's smaller than you. One of the problem in my life. Another one of the major things that's important to me as a writer is our use of Filipino English in our literature. Filipino literature in English is so unique such that it uses the English language, which is not supposedly the original or local language of the Filipinos. But when you read the text has all the sensibilities of the Filipino experience. There is Filipino literature in English, and it's not American. It's not half American, even. It's not Western at all. It's English language, but you read it, it's Filipino. Something about the sentence structure, something about the images that it brings up, something about the even just simple things like adding expressions like I in the English dialogue. The text is in English, but it's not a work of the West. In the early 1900s, the language of English was given to us with the objective that it will make us fully assimilate with the West, with the Americans specifically. But what happened instead is that over the years, English, the tool that was given to us to control us, we were able to take it back, filter out the colonized part of the language, and just see it as a language that we can apply our identity to, our accent, our sensibilities, especially within the literature, our humor, our lingo, our the way we mix these English words into our everyday conversation. The Americans thought that they could use language as a tool to make us more like them, but instead, we took it and we used the English language as a tool to make us more like us. Like, I'm not trying to say at all that, thank you to the Americans for giving us English. We're so, like, so grateful. It's not like that at all. Like, I fully believe that we could have done without. We had a language even before the Spanish. We were fine. We had governments. We had a beautiful functioning, dare I say, matriarchal and spiritual society before them. We could have done without the languages that we got from these colonizers. But the fact that, these languages they just are a part of our history, specifically our colonial history. Instead of being controlled, we took that and we made it a part of our truth, to the point that when you come to the Philippines and you converse with a Filipino in English, you know that you're not speaking to an American. Not at all. It's just the words that are in English. We were able to reduce English to its most basic use, which is just a tool. A tool for us to communicate with each other and obviously other cultures. A tool for us to make art, to make poetry, make music. A tool for us to educate ourselves and expand our understanding of the world. Our identity is richer for it because we all have actively chosen to make that language just one of the many, many languages that we all speak. Making mistakes in English is just proof that you know another language, which makes you so much smarter than people who only know English. I'm so sorry to say. The fact that we have richer minds because of knowing multiple languages. If you've seen the film Arrival by Denis Villeneuve, the main character was played by Amy Adams. She needed to learn an alien language because there was this creature that found its way to Earth and she needed to be able to communicate with them. Once she was able to connect with the aliens in a language level, she started thinking like them. And these creatures are so special because they think of time as a circle. They don't think of time linearly. They don't think of time as past, present, and future. They think of the past happening at the same time as the present. So when she finally was able to absorb their language, she started seeing the past and the future at the same time as well, because she could now think like them and she could now see the world as them because she had access to their language. And I feel it's the same for us as Filipinos. We can feel in Bisaya and Filipino and in English. We can connect with music in English. So much of our favorite karaoke songs are English songs, Whitney Houston songs, Mariah Carey. And we can also connect with friends and family in our Cebuano, in our Tagalog, in our Hiligaynon, in our Ilocano. So we generally have a richer human experience because of all the languages that we speak. So looking at English as a status symbol is worth unlearning. I feel that it's good for us to just think of it as just one of the ways we can access different types of human experiences. I'm going to loop back only just now to the Bad Bunny halftime show, which was purely in Spanish. Why is that important for us as a multilingual culture? Bad Bunny's refusal to assimilate into the Western English speaking culture that place of resistance he's coming from, I believe that it's the same place of resistance that we're coming from when we use English to form our unique identity as Filipinos. The fact that we're actively reducing the English language into just a tool for us to use instead of it being a representation of westernization. I believe that that comes from the same place of resistance as Bad Bunny's decision to make music completely in Spanish, to perform in front of the whole world in pure Spanish, and to be so unapologetically Latin and Puerto Rican. He's done that because Spanish, the choice to use Spanish is the only way for him to be able to capture the truth of the Latino experience or the Puerto Rican experience. In the show, for example, in the halftime show, the nawa'y segment, they're replicating this particular part of New York, which is a city in the United States with a very close knit, intimate Latin community. That experience of being with your people in a sea of people who you feel is not like you or even attacks you or is against you, that you know that the protection that you feel from that oneness in that little space, especially in Tonita's social club, the last standing Latino social club in New York, which was presented in the show. The only way to capture the truth of that experience is to make sure that that presentation is in Spanish. Spanish is the only way to accurately capture the truth of their experience, the diaspora to the United States, the symbolism of the power poles, and how Puerto Rico struggles with power supply. Even the wedding, the sugar canes, everything, the truth of that experience is embedded deeply into Spanish. Conversely, the truth of our experience as Filipinos is in all the languages that we speak. We have so many languages in the whole Philippines. The truth of our experience is located in each of those languages, and English is just one of. So while it's true to look to the halftime show for inspiration, to be like, it's great to love your own language. It is great to love your own language. I love our languages. I love the beauty, especially, oh my God, especially Cebuano, especially Cebuano music. I have very, very, very deep love and affiliation with Cebuano music. I love that we love our languages, but also English is not borrowed for us anymore. Using English is actually an act of resistance. And there are a lot of Filipinos that are saying, we shouldn't, di na ta mag-apil-apil ba kanang we shouldn't join in the joy of the halftime show. It's not ours. It's not our culture. But for me, my honest opinion there is, di ba dingon nga kanang, uy, Benito, dong, kanang wa mong kani, shout out sa Pilipinas sa imong roll call. Di ba dingon nga, ingana na pod nga level atong ganahan ni achieve. Pero for me, we should join in the joy of Puerto Rico and the Latino community because we have so much in common with them. Especially Puerto Rico, that was controlled and exploited literally at the same time as the Filipinos, because the American expansion was a simultaneous program for Puerto Rico, Philippines, Guam, and I believe other countries as well. Same ta og again sa ilaha, same ta og resistance pod. And like even just very basic sugar canes, the farmers, the feudal system, that's all rooted in agriculture and sugar canes. Negros. It could very well be Negros. Why are we obsessed with hating on the joy of other Filipinos. When it's true, our experience is so intertwined with theirs. That's not just because of symbolism. That's actually world history. We experienced so much with them at the same time. All similar things. We can connect with them. Actually, we have to. This is a global problem. Everything is, my God, everything is political. Even just the very simple, the child sleeping on the chairs during a wedding. Wa ba day mo naka-reunion or Christmas party niya? Maabli mo random nga kwarto sa balay nga inyong gipartihan niya. Na dito tanan bata natog. Di ba day yan na inyong kuan, inyong experience as a Filipino? Di ba ay ana man? Ikaw sa nang bata sa una, matugra sa kwarto, maghuwat nga mag-inom yung mamag papa, hantod manguli na mo. 'Di ba? So much of us is them and so much of them is us. I think that we should just allow ourselves to feel this joy because Bad Bunny himself, Benito himself said on February 8th, the world will dance. Apil ta. Baile, inolvidable. Even just, oh my God, the word baile. Wa pa mo ka, tug bailehan. In the early 2000s, ang entrance kay 20. Ganun ka ba mukha na? Kabaw na mga As Filipinos, it's great for us and even healthy for us to participate in the joy that the Latino community is experiencing right now, especially the Puerto Rican community. We have so much in common. We are there, Filiprimos and Filiprimas. And a lot of Latinos have been saying that they come to the Philippines and they're right at home. It's worth celebrating the way we use language as an act of resistance. The choice of Benito to use Spanish as an act of resistance, our choice to use all our languages as an act of resistance. It's something that we don't usually think about because obviously we use our language daily, but we don't realize how deeply it forms our identity and how it binds us as people. Whatever language you speak, the truth of your experience in this world and the truth of your identity is embedded into those languages, whether you like it or not. So it's worth it to take a step back and think about how these languages make you feel and how you can locate your personhood in these beautiful languages, these beautiful bridges of communication that you use every day. Wala siya. Benito, if you're watching this, at some point in the halftime show, you winked at me. So, what are we? Hoy! Okay na, wala siya. That's what I'm trying to say today. And nawa'y may napulot na aral at bagong, sa ha? Well, fluent daw siya. At bagong mga obserbasyon, perspektibo sa mundo sa episode na ito. Salamat! Salamat so much. Kaka-art. Sa parang language ang kaka-art, babe. Anyways, thank you so much everyone for watching. Thanks for spending your time with me. And thank you again, Harriet, for your psty. If you have your own thoughts and experiences that you want to share with the community, whether that's about language, your identity, your Filipino-ness, your Bisaya-ness, or if you just want to crush over Benito with me in the comments, then I would love to hear from you. If you like this podcast, I would love to invite you to come like this video and subscribe to my channel for more episodes. I promise that we will rock you. Basta. Good night, guys. Ay, ikaw na bahala. Basta good morning da sa imo ha. Good morning, good afternoon. Ikaw na bahala. Love you, bye.